Dear friends, welcome once again to our discussion on the belief in God. This is episode 3. Why is it important to believe in God? This is a very important question. The answer is because it changes the very purpose of living and our life. Uh, Whereas we can be busy all the time into worldly activities, this belief in God helps us to connect with God who resides in the temple of our heart and so pass through this world in a detached manner. We must earn a living. That is the command given by avatars, manifestations of God. But we should not be so involved in the affairs of the world that we totally forget our divine identity and the purpose of our life, which is revealed in the divine scriptures. Now, when we look around, we find many people totally engrossed in the worldly activities and they have kind of forgotten the real aim of their life, which is to know God and worship Him. So, let us talk about the problems that materialistic philosophy seems to have. And one of the greatest problems is the total subjugation of the human nature uh, to senses, which, as per experience, are very limited. We have some more ways of knowing the truth, though again, all of them would seem to be somewhat imperfect. This is understandable because nothing in the human world can to be perfect, and we can use all these ways to arrive at the truth. So, if we cannot physically touch God and see Him, it does not mean that God does not exist. If we are connected to that supreme power, we can feel His presence all the time. Now, one of the ways to connect with God and to understand Him is reason. We have seen above in the previous episodes that one of the logical proofs of the existence of God is that something cannot be produced out of nothing. There must be a first cause. Abdu'l-Baha explains this. He says, it is certain that the whole contingent world is subjected to a law and rule which it can never disobey. Even man is forced to submit to death, to sleep, and to other conditions. That is to say, man in certain particulars is governed, and necessarily this state of being governed implies the existence of a governor. However, we must be careful while applying reason because it is possible, at least thematically speaking, to justify even a wrong thing. At times, we noticed even proclaimed criminals escape punishment by using the power of logic. A contemporary philosopher similarly might use additional arguments to contradict or modify an earlier philosophical treatise. So, look at other alternatives. Another alternative way the modern cosmologists explain the generation of order from chaos is the idea of recurring Big Bang or the infinite number of bubble-like universe. The question then arises, could given the infinite time and space a configuration of consciousness come into existence which was possessed of the creative power to bring a new universe into existence which could love in an all-compassing manner and have knowledge of all aspects of the cosmos. If such a being could ever exist, then by virtue of its nature, it has always existed and will continue to do so. Now let's talk about realizing God, the whole concept of belief in God. As we have said, all the scriptures unequivocally affirm the existence of a creator, a superhuman power known variously in various scriptures as God, Allah, Ishwar, or Ram. The skeptics mostly do not accept the scriptural authority because they do not understand the process of revelation, having no belief in God. Though at times some of them do acknowledge that prophets or avatars were great men because their teachings provide valuable insights into life and living. The text of the Holy Scriptures help us to understand the truth. However, the problem of finding out the truth is twofold. Truth is both absolute and relative. The relative truth is bound by time and space in which we live, and we can only understand truth according to the parameters available to us. And relative truths undergo changes, whether they are scientific or religious. It is therefore that in the world of science, from time to time, old scientific laws are changed in favor of the new ones, and more or less the same process takes place in the realm of religion. A subsequent revelation from God, dear friends, modifies the old revelation, a part of which is the social laws. Progressive divine revelation is necessitated because humans cannot perceive the Creator through their limited sensory perception. It is impossible for any mortal mind to truly understand the reality of God. However, broad or imaginative our concept of God may be, it will always be circumscribed by the limitations of the human mind. Abdu'l-Baha clarifies, quote, that which we imagine is not the reality of God, even if we believe in Him, friends. Quote again, He, the unknowable, the unthinkable, is far beyond the highest conception of man. And further, as our knowledge of things, even if even of created and limited things, is knowledge of their qualities and not of their essence, how is it possible to comprehend in its essence the divine reality which is unlimited? Abdu'l-Baha states, knowing God therefore means the comprehension and the knowledge of His attributes and not of His reality. This knowledge of the attributes is also proportional to the capacity and power of man. It is not absolute. The manifestation of God, Baha'u'llah, literally the glory of God, like Lord Krishna, makes us aware that the signs of existence of God are everywhere. He says, every created thing in the whole universe is but a door leading into His knowledge, a sign of His sovereignty, a revelation of His names, a symbol of His majesty, a token of His power, a means of His admittance to His straight path. The beauty, richness, and diversity of the natural world are thus all expressions of the attributes of God. If we wish to come in touch with the reality of divinity, we do so by recognizing its phenomena, its attributes and traces which are widespread in the universe. Abdu'l-Baha explains, throughout the world of existence, the smallest created thing attests to the existence of a creator. For example, this piece of bread, giving the example of bread, he says, attests that it has a maker. Then how could this vast, boundless universe have created itself and come to exist solely through the mutual interaction of the elements? How patently false is such notion? There are theoretical arguments adduced for weak souls, but if the eye of inner vision be opened, 100,000 clear proofs will be seen. Thus, when man feels the indwelling spirit, he is in no need of arguments for its existence. The Bhagavad Gita explains the process of knowing God. Lord Krishna says, relinquishing all desires for sense objects, and abandoning the ever fickle dualities of likes and dislikes. Such a one is qualified to realize the Brahma or spiritual substratum that pervades all existence. And further, one becomes fit to attain Brahma when he or she possesses a purified intellect and firmly restrains the senses, abandoning sound and other objects of the senses, casting aside attraction and aversion. Such a person relishes solitude, eats lightly, controls body, mind, and speech, is ever engaged in meditation, and practices dispassion, free from egoism, violence, arrogance, desire, possessiveness of property, and selfishness. Such a person, situated in tranquility, is fit for union with Brahm, that is, realization of absolute truth as Brahm. This is from Gita, chapter 8, and verses 51 and 53. So, friends, there is a lot of guidance here from reason, from science, and from religion, especially the two scriptures that we are referring to, the Baha'i writings and the Bhagavad Gita. I hope that this guidance will benefit the listeners as it has benefited me, and I hope you will listen to the next episode with the same interest. Thank you very much. Please do subscribe this channel, Nai Duniya. Goodbye and have a good day.